Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to welcome you to the 2012 Commencement at Dartmouth College. This commencement takes place in the 242nd year of the college. The opening prayer will be offered by Richard CROCKER, college chaplain and dean of the Tucker Foundation.
Almighty God, in whom we live and move and have our being, we gather today to celebrate again learning, endurance, and friendship. As we look back, give us gratitude for what we have learned and for all those who have encouraged us, and forgiveness for wasted opportunities. As we look forward, we ask that you would heal the wounds of regret with new possibilities. Save us from self-absorption and self-congratulation, and grant us a sincere desire to be useful. Today we send forth these graduates and our president. We ask that they and we may be strengthened by our time together in this place to serve this world, making it a place more secure, more just, more sustainable, more peaceful, healthier, and more prosperous through good work rooted in faith and hope and love. Amen.
Candidates for advanced degrees will be presented by their respective deans. A professional photographer is present, so we appreciate the audience's cooperation in keeping the aisles clear. After the candidates for advanced degrees have been presented, the president will confer all degrees, and the recipients will come to the platform to receive their diplomas. Names of the graduate students will be read as they come forward. The candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration will now be presented by Dean Paul DANOS.
Mr. President, the women and men standing before you have completed all requirements for the degree of Master of Business Administration. At the request of the faculty of the Amos Tuck School, and on their behalf, I am proud to present the candidates for your conferring of those degrees.
The candidates for degree of Bachelor of Engineering and Master of Engineering Management will now be presented by Dean Joseph HELBLE.
Mr. President, the women and men now presented to you have completed all of the requirements for the degrees of Bachelor of Engineering and Master of Engineering Management. At the request of the faculty of the Thayer School of Engineering and on their behalf, I am proud to present them to you for the awarding of those degrees.
The candidates for degrees of Masters of Arts in Liberal Studies, Masters of Arts, and Masters of Science will now be presented by Dean Brian Pogue.
Mr. President, the arts and science graduate students standing before you have completed all the requirements of Dartmouth College for the degrees of Master of Arts in Liberal Studies, Master of Arts, or Master of Science. At the request of the faculty, on their behalf, I proudly present them to you for the awarding of those degrees.
The candidates for the degree of Masters of Public Health will now be presented by Dean Wiley Shoba.
Mr. President, the women and men now presented to you have completed all of the requirements of the Audrey and Theodore Geisel School of Medicine for the degree of Public Health. At the request of the faculty and on their behalf, I am proud to present these candidates for your conferring of those degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Dartmouth College, I confer upon you the degrees witnessed by the testimonials you are about to receive, and declare you entitled to all the rights, honors, and special obligations pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Will the degree recipients please come forward to receive their diplomas?
For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering, Alden Claire Adolph.
For the degree of Masters of Business Administration, Benjamin James Tilton.
Amin Abu Zaid.
Laura Abashian.
Peter Ankeny.
Abhishek Agarwal.
Samuel Peter Axelrod.
Andrew Akers.
Joshua Barry.
Lane Anderson.
Elisa Beth Belial.
Arun Balakrishnan.
Ryan Che Burju.
Wade Barnes.
Noah Byron Bonheim.
Kirsten Barnum.
Nathaniel Brakely.
Jonathan Bauman.
Amber M. Bryant.
Andrew Kwabena Benson.
Natalie Burkhart.
John Douglas Boomgard.
Irina Kazan.
Antoine Bruce.
Anderson Tobias.
Melissa Elizabeth Wilson Brown.
Elisa Paige Bohm.
Kevin R. Kenjami.
Zachary Martin Courier.
Ji Chown.
Harold Dashu.
Tulio Capeline Langdon.
Molly Alyssa Greer.
Molly Elizabeth Carapiet.
William Hodson Hart.
Pablo Carbonell.
Ariana Heiderer.
Colin Lee Careyhill.
Donald Batsirai Handongwa.
Paul Carroll.
Samuel Zinhu Hoy.
Spencer W. Champagne.
Lucas Kilpatrick Hussey.
Shen Sheen.
Yahya Mohammed Ahmad Halim.
Kelly Ciafalo.
Stephen Jin.
Benjamin Koefik.
Michael Oliver Stearns Johnson.
Michael John Swilinski Jr.
John Graham Kagi.
Michael Craig Daniel.
Matthew Flannery Knight.
Derek Michael Deese.
Emily Kiker Snowman.
Ankur Desai.
Thomas Yamato Lane.
Waverly Doleman.
Alexis Lee Levine.
Matthew Donovan.
Evan Omer Lipinski.
Benjamin Dower.
Alejandro Luporan.
Rebecca Dryett.
Rachel Morris.
Hudson Evi.
Ermira Murati.
Alina Flores Mendizabal.
Jordan Roosevelt Nesmith.
Simon Fowles.
Christopher Eng.
Kenneth P. Fraser.
Roja Nuna.
Robert Avila Garcia.
Aganakai Eric Ogban.
Ann Garrigus.
Eric Packer.
Rodrigo Gijan.
Christopher Michael Rowe.
Macarena Herrera.
Paul Robbie Russell.
Scott Howard.
Tim Banderet.
Siobhan Howard.
Aruwind Wishwanatha.
Alvin T. Su.
Yan Wang.
Michelle Huang.
Peter Richard Williams.
Jonathan Dean Hudson.
Christopher Matthew Zarbach.
Dennis Liam Huggins.
Evan Jacob Zaitchik.
Roman Hughes.
For the degree of Master of Engineering Management, Allison Joanne McKendry.
Peter Hult.
Shailesh Dominic Aranha.
Eugene Huang.
Prabjit Singh Atal.
Torlisa L. Jeffrey.
Sagar Bunsal.
Jian Lin.
Sharnice Ashley Barbour.
Delicia Yvonne Jones.
Ashwin Krishna Baskahron.
Crystal Jones.
Matthew Joseph Cohen.
Masato Kanataki.
Mohit Daga.
James Scott Cantor.
Greg Jude D'Souza.
Courtney Lee Keefe.
Gaurang Vijay Dasai.
Liam Kerr.
Bo Chao Do.
Min Sung Kim.
Jonathan Philip Frisch.
Taehoon Kim.
Shika Gulati.
Catherine Ann Kausman.
Jialin Wang.
Tingjun Lai.
Arpith Kumar Jaswant Jain.
Addison Lanier.
Rishank Jindial.
David Liao.
Rahul Kakaral.
Mison Lee.
Sarah Elizabeth Kakinos.
Ben Lee.
Shongpen Kwei.
Darius Lee.
Kelvin Keifung Larang.
Jinshu Lee.
Jincheng Lee.
Catherine Libby.
Abhijit Kedarnath Maharnan.
Wendy Lowe.
Ritesh Mali.
Farai Mahoya.
Andrea Lee Marin.
Sarah E. Major.
Mario Jos Martinez Velos.
Jose Ramon Malpartida.
Laura Marie McPartland.
Sebastian Martinez.
Ankit Mehta.
Kenyo Matsunaga.
Bhavna Makalatai Sharode. Ree.
Philip McDonald.
Jens Martin Moibus.
Justin Kenneth McFarland.
Ross Eugene Nurberg.
Jeffrey Millman.
Ramya Pujita Bandiala.
Federico Miranda.
James Tate Preston.
Sony Mistry.
Shaguna Punj.
Jonathan Mitchell.
Harinarian Rungunoth.
Diksha Mittal.
Kunran Pratik Shah.
Naomi Morimura.
Praktik Umesh Shah.
Vivek Narasimhan.
Ijo Shen.
Tam No.
Sri Watson Sivanandan.
Kathleen O'Leary.
Anirudh Shrimanan.
Leon Sachia Okada Yi.
Anshika Srivasta.
Ose Oteze.
Matthew Boyd Strand.
Roseanne Palatucci.
Arjun Thampan Subraniman.
Panfang Yu.
Xian Yang.
Sergei Petrov.
For the degree of Master of Arts in Liberal Studies, Erin Eileen O'Flaherty.
Elizabeth Ann Pomerantz.
Kemi Ashi.
Adam Christopher
Adi
Price.
Dukan.
Tara Tan Pyle.
Ellen Ryan Anderson.
Danny Bo Chen.
Lalita Ann Ushman.
Gaurav Reina Tapan.
Keith W. Chapman.
Brian Matthew Ramirez.
Rebecca McCarthy Copans.
Amrit Kumar Rao.
Jennifer Rebecca Courier.
Prasant Rao.
Charles F. Davis Jr.
Ellen Regeniter.
Pradeep K. Frederick.
Darren Ronald Roberts.
Thomas Froelich.
Kevin Robinson.
Ibatala Isa.
Alexander Vivo Rodriguez.
Morgan Clark.
Vivek Rohia.
Shishen Kuo.
Eduardo Sanchez.
Megan Lehman.
Avraj Sandhu.
Ningyu Lee.
Alejandro Sandoval Lopez.
Yahui Lee.
Erica Catherine Santos.
Joseph Mariani.
Parul S. Shah.
Summer McDaniel.
Nitin Sharma.
Connor McNulty.
Saurabh Sharma.
Daniel Michael Muxian.
Nathan Andrew Sharp.
Anita Probrick.
Joan Shu.
Josiah Stephen Proietti.
Shuhai Shu.
Susan Romero.
Swisweta Modam Shapishka.
Naslin B. Shakir.
Muen Dave Sun.
Barbara Ann Stubbs.
Wei Vivian Tang.
Jonathan Gross Sylvia.
Christopher N. Toussaint.
Li Juan Wei.
Felipe Alejandro Valdez.
Wesley Whitaker.
Tiago Vasconcelos.
Nicole Alexandra Eilert Yoakum.
Sarah Wagner.
Thomas Rhodes Zollner.
Ian Wharton.
For the degree of Master of Arts, Shaheen Ashokas.
Takuzi Watanabe.
Nathan Foster Bullock.
David Weisberg.
Alexander Dupuy.
Emily Williams.
David Andrew Kant.
Kelly L. Winquist.
Isabel Rose Markham.
Abdullah Sadiq Wright.
Allison R. Matic.
Rachel Zhu.
Yun Ni.
Yang Zhang.
Yu Wang.
Yao Zhang.
For the degree of Master of Science, Fang Ho Chen.
Kurt Zwald.
Zaho Yi Chen. Zhou Fang Huo. David Kopek. Arathi Prasad. Chajuan Wen. Rong Yang. Sha Xiao Yang. Garrett Rogers Rayner. Lois Anissa St. Bryce. Bruce Wayne Andrus. Laura Marie Bozoti. Wesley Chang. Alexandra F. Hoffman. Ryan Matthew Ilgenfritz. Stephanie Mann Stone. Master of Public Health, Aaron R. Picciatino. Rupa Akanine. Christina Rose Cahill. Jeffrey William Danford. Bradley Ivan Gallimore. Amina Kasharaj. Randall D. Lee. Albert Katana Bagohe. Elizabeth Antonio Miranda. Atika Mohammed. Alina V. Plofsky. Stephen Wayne Powell. Natalie Barbara Virginia Riblet. Hillary Jane Rocky. Aita Van Sile Romaine. William Lewis Shapiro. Rima Siddharth Shah. Peter Joshua Thurber. Januni Vigneshwaran. Heather Evett Wolf. Kathleen Shu. Javier Emilio Zarate Jr.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine will now be presented by Dean Wiley Shoba.
Mr. President, the women and men now presented to you have completed all of the requirements of the Audrey and Theodore Geisel School of Medicine for the degree of Doctor of Medicine. At the request of the faculty and on their behalf, I am proud to present these candidates for your conferring of those degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Dartmouth College, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Medicine and declare you entitled to all the rights, honors, and special obligations pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Will the degree recipients please come forward to receive their diplomas?
Colleen E. McDade, John Breen, Hee Young Choi, Moon Yan Cox, Ja Ja Kui, Kevin Dahan, Stephen DeWitt, Sarah Dotson, Sarah Fink, Jay Guevara, Jean Hamlin, Zubir Hassan, Fiona He, Robert Holmes, Ryan Horvath, Charity Jacobs, Dong Kong Kim, Stephanie Kim, Riza Kordestani, Laura Bauman Laskerain, Bijem Lee, Chun Yu Lee, Ayana Lewis, Amber Chang Liu, Emily Looney, Bilal Mahmood, Keith Morley, Zeev Moses, Jenny Ng, Parag Parikh, Kate Russell, Lyndon Tyler, Matthew Weiss, David Wenger, Scott Wiener, Matthew Duncan Wood, Michael Woodforth, Catherine Yu, Jonathan Zapersky, and Joseph Zitek. Congratulations, Geisel School of Medicine, class of 2012.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy will now be presented by Dean Brian Pogue.
Mr. President, the arts and science graduate students standing before you have completed all of the requirements of Dartmouth College for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. At the request of their faculty and on their behalf, I now proudly present them, each of them, to you for the awarding of that degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Dartmouth College, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and declare you entitled to all the rights, honors, and special obligations pertaining thereto.
Will the degree recipients please come forward to receive their diplomas?
For the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, Michael Eric Hopkins, Psychological and Brain Sciences. Ahmad Abu Tayoun, Genetics. Krisil Araka Parumbil, Computer Science. Christopher David Ball, Biochemistry. Emmanuel Cornelius Balanya, Experimental and Molecular Medicine. Carlene Tanisha Barrett, Physiology. Alex Bijamov, Engineering Sciences. Kyle Cady, Microbiology and Immunology. Patricia R. Kahn, Mathematics. Matthew Felix Kane, Chemistry. Shusha Deng, Physics and Astronomy. Kristen Gina DiPetrillo, Biological Sciences. Megan Rebecca Doe, Genetics. Brendan Keeley Faherty, Genetics. Xiao Fan, Engineering Sciences. Kimberly Jean Fink, Engineering Sciences. Andrew James Giustini, Engineering Sciences. Daniel John Goduti, Biological Sciences. Amir Hossein Golnabi, Engineering Sciences. Margaret M. Gulick, Cognitive Neuroscience. Robert B. Hanel, Engineering Sciences. Kevin Matthew Hart, Engineering Sciences. Emily Auer Hood, Biochemistry. Ronald D. Kinzer, Jr., Biological Sciences. John William Lampa, Engineering Sciences. Ashley Marie Lockney, Engineering Sciences. Benjamin David Linowitz, Mathematics. Hong Lu, Computer Science. James Lawrence Lundberg, Physics and Astronomy. Elizabeth Macari, Experimental and Molecular Medicine. Adil Malek, Microbiology and Immunology. Jared M. Marles, Microbiology and Immunology. Kristen Cecile Maskell, Chemistry. Aurora Loita Motzkin, Health Policy and Clinical Practice. Craig N. Mellon, Health Policy and Clinical Practice. Megan Rose Mella, Physics and Astronomy. Diana K. Morales, Microbiology and Immunology. Priya Notarajan, Computer Science. Syra Nawas, Health Policy and Clinical Practice. Brant Joseph Oliver, Health Policy and Clinical Practice. Aimee Pispanen, microbiology and immunology. Vinay Ramabhadran, biochemistry. Megan E. Roberts, psychological and brain sciences. Forrest James Robertson, chemistry. Kimberly Ann Spots-Wallace, microbiology and immunology. Nikitas Stamatopoulos, physics and astronomy. Kiran Tan, computer science. Jennifer Lynn Taylor, chemistry. Lucas J. Thatcher, physics and astronomy. Lauren A. Thompson, mathematics. Ryan John Urbanowicz, genetics. Thomas L. Walsh, health policy and clinical practice. Yuqing Wang. Binjing Zhang, engineering sciences. Pei Zhou, biological sciences.
Before proceeding further in the ceremony, I have the honor and privilege of presenting, at the request of the Board of Trustees, 2 candidates for honorary degrees who will now be presented by the Chair of the Board of Trustees, Steve Mandel.
On behalf of the college's Board of Trustees, I present to you 2 remarkable individuals for the conferring upon each of them degrees honoris causa. First, for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, Dr. YOUNSOOK Lim. YOUNSOOK Lim, you are an insightful, committed, and centered pediatrician who has dedicated herself to improving the health of young people around the world. You have provided care for disadvantaged children in the United States and Africa and served as a medical officer at the World Health Organization. As a public health physician, you helped develop an innovative approach to reducing mother-to-child AIDS transmission in some of the poorest places on earth. As Dartmouth's First Lady, you have graciously opened your home for everything from impromptu Super Bowl gatherings to formal dinners for foreign delegates. As a nurturing and devoted mother of 2 young sons, you have managed a challenging balancing act that a First Lady of Dartmouth has not faced since Christina and John Sloan Dickey moved into the President's house with their small children in 1945. And you have done it with humor, elegance, charm, and care. The kindness and generosity you show others is beyond compare. On a trip to Peru, you overheard one community health worker telling another that he wanted to improve his English but could not do it without a translating machine. A few weeks later, he received one from you in the mail. Your natural ability to put others at ease makes discussions about even the most difficult healthcare problems accessible and inspiring, and your colleagues rely on your exacting questions to help transform their aspirational ideas into action and results. These traits, in addition to your extensive medical expertise, contributed significantly to the breakthrough success of the program you helped establish in Rwanda. The Rwandan Minister of Health, Dr. Agnes Binawahu, said that the kind of healthcare innovation you brought to the people of her country can revolutionize the world. She is confident that your continued good work will accelerate the revolution for social justice. YOUNSOOK, your generous heart and distinctive intelligence will be missed by the entire Dartmouth community. For your unwavering service to the college and to children around the world, Dartmouth is proud to award you the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. Jim Yong Kim, as Dartmouth's 17th president, you have made a lasting contribution to the college, energizing students, faculty, and alumni, and inspiring all to push harder and think bigger to help solve the problems of our time. Before you came to Dartmouth, you'd already made your mark on the world stage through your distinguished work as a global health expert, anthropologist, educator, and innovator at Harvard University, the World Health Organization, and Partners in Health, the pioneering global health services provider you co-founded. When you were chosen as president of Dartmouth, some considered you an unlikely choice. Yet looking back, your path to Hanover seems almost destined. The school sought a leader who was committed, inspired, and unafraid, one who readily understood the many qualities that make Dartmouth so distinctive. You have hit every mark and enriched us with the uniqueness of your background and perspectives. From your first day, you faced daunting challenges and difficult choices. You arrived at the height of the global economic crisis, as Dartmouth struggled to overcome a large budget shortfall. Your decisive action to reduce expenses closed the gap faster than anyone thought possible and reinforced the college's financial foundation. At the same time, you pushed Dartmouth to expand its educational horizons and its role as a global leader. During your presidency, Dartmouth launched the Center for Healthcare Delivery Science and led the creation of the National College Health Improvement Project, two undertakings that were the first of their kind. In your determination to promote excellence, you laid the foundation for a strategic planning initiative that will advance and guide Dartmouth for decades to come. You have shared your many talents with Dartmouth and taught us much, from the science of disciplined thinking and execution to the passion and courage to take on tough challenges and demand the very best of ourselves. Jim, Dartmouth will miss deeply your extraordinary leadership and your humanity. We wish you well as you continue your journey to make the world's troubles your own. We thank you for your friendship and your service and the enduring mark you have left, for your outstanding contribution to the college and to the world. Dartmouth is proud to award you the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Mr. President, on behalf of Dartmouth's faculties and pursuant to votes by the College Board of Trustees, I present to you 5 remarkable individuals for the conferring upon each of them the degree honoris causa. First, for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, Johnny CLEGG.
Johnny Clegg, if music is the food of love, yours is a veritable banquet. You infuse it with the rhythms of Africa and the melodies of the West to create a unique blend that at once sustains and empowers. Like all great art, it transcends difference to express the boundless spirit of our rainbow world. Born in England, you grew up in southern Africa, a white Zulu with a heart as big as the continent and a belief in justice fired by your awareness from a young age of senseless inequality. In the dark days of apartheid, when those who would separate us sought to silence you, your vibrant music fed the soul of the movement to end such separation. Bans, raids, and arrests never stopped you from giving voice to the people, decrying the hardships inflicted on them and celebrating their proud cultures. Today, in a better time, your songs unite the crowds who throng the rugby stadiums and pack the public arenas of your beloved South Africa and echo around the world. With your bands Juluka and then Savuka, and as a solo artist, you have earned wide international acclaim. You are South Africa's living treasure, Swaziland's royal minstrel, and a French knight of arts and letters. And as an accomplished anthropologist, you have written seminal papers on Zulu music and dance and lectured at home and abroad. On your visits to Dartmouth, you showed us that your teaching is as inspiring as your music. You once said the hardest lesson you ever learned was recognizing opportunities. You learned that lesson well. With the company African Sky, you saw the opportunity both to protect our planet and put people to work by recycling e-waste. You use music and song to raise awareness of HIV/AIDS and highlight the need for prevention. Johnny, for the decades you spent bringing unity where there was division and preserving your country's heritage, Dartmouth is proud to award you the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Mr. President, for the degree Doctor of Science, Mary Ann Fox.
Mary Ann Fox, you've been hailed as one of the nation's most creative physical organic chemists. Your qualities have enabled you to affect policy change on a national scale and molecular change at the nanoscale. No idea is too large and no particle too small to occupy your comprehensive vision for science and teaching. An honored Dartmouth alumna and trustee, you received your PhD in physical organic chemistry at a time when few women were entering the field. Over your entire life's path, your determination and example have paved the way for countless women to pursue careers in science. When studying here, your mentor, Professor David Lamal, said you had, quote, possibilities. You proved this to be an enormous understatement. You were the first female chancellor of North Carolina State University and the first permanent female chancellor of UC San Diego. One of the foremost innovators in your field, you have secured 3 patents, published more than 400 scientific articles and 5 books, and lectured on every continent, including Antarctica. Your goal has always been to improve the human condition, and this ideal inspired your pioneering work in photoelectric chemistry. Your research has advanced our understanding of renewable energy and laid the groundwork for the solar-powered car. You've been honored numerous times. You were elected to the National Academy of Sciences and awarded the National Medal of Science, the nation's highest honor for scientists, for redrawing the frontiers of human knowledge. Ever the educator, you cited this honor as a tribute to the graduate students and postdoctoral scholars you mentored over the years. Mary Ann, your research and the innovations it has engendered have transformed the nature of scientific inquiry in material science, solar energy, and environmental chemistry. In recognition of your extraordinary scientific accomplishments and your outstanding contribution to teaching, Dartmouth is proud to award you the honorary degree, Doctor of Science.
Mr. President, for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, AQQALUK, LYNGE.
AQQALUK LYNGE, your brilliant ability to transform ideas into action has advanced the rights of indigenous peoples around the world and unified international efforts to combat global warming. A consummate poet politician, cultural statesman, and true friend of Dartmouth, you have championed the self-determination of your native Greenland and the interests and unity of the Inuit of the Arctic Circle. In the great tradition of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., you have written that the ability to resist peacefully is a powerful tool. You exercise this belief by helping to lead a nonviolent revolution for your country's transition from colonial rule to self-government, setting a precedent for all indigenous peoples. You have written in your poetry that the Inuit way of life relies upon the balance between animals and us, lives of mutual respect. Your dedication to protecting that balance has led you to become one of the world's principal voices on climate change. You have forged Inuit partnerships with climate scientists, business leaders, and policymakers to find workable solutions to global warming. You have also written that the Inuit, the people who live farther north than anyone else, are the canary in the global coal mine. In your homeland, Inuit hunters are falling through thinning ice fields, and Inuit homes are falling into the encroaching ocean. But you continue to inspire your people by reminding them that they have overcome daunting challenges throughout their history. AQQALUK, you have shared the resilience and beauty of the Inuit soul with Dartmouth and the world. For your extraordinary dedication to promoting the rights of indigenous people everywhere and working to safeguard our planet from the cataclysmic ravages of climate change, Dartmouth is proud to award you the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Mr. President, for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, Stephen Roth.
Stephen Roth, at 21, you became one of the youngest people ever to graduate from the Tuck School of Business, finishing in the top 3% of your class. Classmates, top 3% of the class, okay? You went on to build one of the most successful companies in the country, becoming the 2006 top CEO in the commercial real estate industry and earning Barron's recognition as one of the world's most respected CEOs 3 years in a row. Together with your wife, Daryl, you built a tight-knit family, nurturing Amanda and Jordan with your love of learning and raising them to understand philanthropy as an important way of giving back to their schools and communities. You are never too busy to receive your wife's calls at the office or your grandchild's report card on your iPhone during a Dartmouth Board of Trustees weekend. Your family is the center of your world. You've said that you wouldn't be who you are today without Dartmouth. Likewise, Dartmouth would not be what it is today without you. Your sharp mind and tireless work as chair of the Trustees Finance Committee enabled the college to recover from the 2009 stock market crash more quickly than many other institutions. Our aspirations and your dreams have dovetailed seamlessly in countless ways that have made a profound impact on the spiritual diversity and intellectual life of the college. One of the many enduring Roth family legacies will be the endowed support of professors who, in your words, know how to inspire our students, transform Dartmouth, and change the world. Steve, in recognition of all you've done to help the college further its core mission of fostering innovative ideas and making the world a better place through its students and faculty, Dartmouth is so proud to award you the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Mr. President, for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, Wendy Kopp.
Wendy Kopp, yours is a story of unbridled optimism, of a passion born of the conviction that educational opportunity is a right for all. You have pursued your undergraduate dream with a single-minded tenacity, to make knowledge a reality for millions of young minds, first in under-resourced communities across America and now around the world. In your final year thesis at Princeton, you proposed recruiting top college seniors to teach in low-income school districts for 2-year terms of service. In the 2 decades since, through Teach for America, you have inspired tens of thousands of our nation's most talented graduates, including many from Dartmouth, to begin their professional lives in our nation's most challenged classrooms. That was only the beginning. Under your leadership, those classroom leaders, Teach for America alumni, have become leaders throughout K-12 public education, serving as master teachers, principals, superintendents, heads of advocacy organizations, and educational entrepreneurs. You have given hope to parents consigned to poverty and to children aching to learn. You forged a culture where transformation in the classroom is the expectation rather than the exception. And you've inspired educators in more than 20 countries to follow your lead through Teach for All. Wendy, yours is not an unlikely triumph. It is an object lesson in perseverance in the face of skepticism. It is a demonstration of the difference each of us can make when we invest in people and proof in action that the cycle of poverty can be broken when we make the world's troubles our troubles. For your extraordinary achievements in bringing us closer to the day when every child has the chance to succeed through education, Dartmouth is proud to present you with the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Thank you so much, President Kim. Distinguished faculty, members of the Board of Trustees, graduates, and families and friends. It is a tremendous honor to be here today. Dartmouth is such a special college with its rich history, its dedicated student body, and as I've been learning more about recently, its colorful customs. I'm impressed to see you all here recovered from senior week. I hear that that is an accomplishment in and of itself. As you sit here on the green, which has been the site of so many good times at Dartmouth, to take part in this last great college tradition, you must be feeling a combination of nostalgia and pride. You've overcome a lot to get to this day, and in the process, you've formed deep friendships and lasting memories. You've made it through bleak winters, freshman housing, what I hear are very intense pong competitions, all-nighters, and nasty bouts of senioritis. Hundreds of you have survived the mind-numbing shock and devastating cold of the polar bear swim, which coincidentally is exactly how I felt when I learned that I would be the following act to Conan O'Brien, who, as you know, delivered last year's commencement address. But in all seriousness, graduating from a college as esteemed and demanding as this one is no mean feat. So before I say anything else, let me first say congratulations to the class of 2012. You should be fiercely proud of what you have achieved. Those of you who are first in your families to graduate from college and others who have beaten the odds to reach this day should feel particularly accomplished. So please take another moment to savor your success and to thank all of the people who have helped you get here. As you look ahead to life outside Hanover, you're probably feeling a mixture of excitement and fear. This is an incredible moment when you can choose what to make of the rest of your life. You have immense talent and countless opportunities in front of you, but you also carry the weight of high expectations, the pressure to be successful, and you face an added burden of graduating into a tough job market. You might be expecting, or maybe dreading, that I'm going to add one more lofty challenge to your plate by giving, in the words of one campus publication, a predictable speech extolling the virtues of public service. You can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm not going to do that exactly. I've given a lot of thought to what message I most want to leave you with. That question took me back through my own journey, which began when I was sitting in seats like yours 23 years ago. What struck me, looking back, is the vital role of the people who said yes when most others said no. As driven graduates who want to make an impact on the world, you will soon discover, as I did, that the world is slanted towards no. It's easier to tear something down than to build something up. It's easier to poke holes in an idea than it is to think of ways to fill them. And it's easier to focus on the 100 reasons you shouldn't do something rather than the one reason you should. There's a divide, and it's getting bigger, between the builders and the critics, between the fighters and the spectators. When you turn on the news or venture into the blogosphere, what you see is that the naysayers have the power, while the people who are on the front lines charting a new course or working to make things better weather constant criticism. To put it in layman's terms, there are a lot of haters out there. You will find that it is almost always more comfortable to sit on the sidelines and critique the builders from afar, but at the end of the day, the people who make a difference, the people who shape history, are not the haters. Now, it probably seems easy for me to stand up here and exhort you to brave risks and be builders. After all, the big thing I tried after college was a success. But it very nearly wasn't, and in fact, almost didn't get off the ground. There's an often told story about the inauspicious beginning of Teach for America. When I told my thesis advisor that I was actually going to try to implement my idea of a national teacher corps, he responded, "My dear Miss Kopp, you are quite evidently deranged." Now, maybe it's predictable that when I was 22 with no teaching experience and, well, no experience at all, a lot of people would think my pursuit was deranged. I myself was completely torn by the decision to start Teach for America. There was a voice in my head telling me not to do it, actually, to take a more normal path. I did have one thing going for me, which was that I'd been rejected from all of the other jobs I'd applied to. So for all of those who aren't yet clear on your next steps, and for your concerned parents, you may be the lucky ones, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. For every person I approached who said, "I believe in this idea, how can I help?" there were many more who were lukewarm or negative. But I don't remember much about those conversations today. Teach for America made it, not only through its launch, but through many dark years when we were constantly on the brink of collapse. We survived and came out the other side stronger because of dozens of allies along the way who were willing to roll up their sleeves and dig into the hard, usually unglamorous work of tackling the many problems we had, rather than use them as an excuse to quit or not get involved. I want to share just one of these stories about the government accountant who saved Teach for America. About 5 years in, we were applying for a federal grant that was crucial to our survival. The agency in charge was reluctant to give us the money because they were very worried about a terribly weak financial state. We were living hand to mouth, sweating every payroll. Now, of course, this, from our perspective, was exactly why we needed this grant. But no matter how hard we tried, we failed to convince them that they should invest in keeping us alive. Finally, they told us that they were sending a financial director from the Department of Agriculture to New York City to audit us and give them a final recommendation. Now, everyone we'd encountered thus far was critical of our situation, and so we assumed that this man was coming to put the last nail in the coffin. I was surprised when a friendly man showed up in our office. He had no preconceptions and began by simply listening to us and reading through all sorts of documents about our cash flow. 2 hours later, he leaned back and said, "You're going to be fine. You just need a little help." He spent the next 2 days trying to help us figure out how to present ourselves to satisfy the grant givers, and then he went back to DC to fight for us. Now, no doubt, he saw all the same issues everyone else saw. He could have simply gone with the grain and said, no, this is too much of a mess. It certainly would have been a lot easier for him. But thankfully, he was willing to ask instead how he could help. His decision had a huge impact. This year, 48,000 of our nation's top college graduates and recent grads applied to join Teach for America. Each year, thousands of first and second year Corps members make a real difference in the lives of hundreds of thousands of kids. And now, nearly 30,000 Teach for America alumni are fighting as leaders in and outside of education to close the opportunity gap. In fact, this fall, our Corps will include 37 of you, including among many other remarkable graduates, Kiva Sams, who I believe is here today, and is joining Teach for America to go back to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, where she grew up. In high school, Kiva was taught by another Teach for America Corps member who had a profound impact on her life and helped her earn a scholarship at Dartmouth. Now, I tried to contact our accountant in shining armor several times after he left our office. I was never able to track him down, and I'm sad to say I don't actually remember his name. But if it hadn't been for this man, whose instinct was to support rather than bystand, I would not be standing here today, and Kiva might not be heading back to Pine Ridge to teach either. You don't have to create the next Google to be a builder and make an impact. Each and every one of us can make daily choices to build things up rather than tear them down. Just how crucial these choices are was reinforced vividly for me recently when I endeavored to create a new venture. For several years, I'd been meeting inspiring social entrepreneurs from all over the world who had come across the model of Teach for America and wanted to bring it back to address the pressing needs in their countries. Along with the founder of Teach First, the UK adaptation, I wanted to start a global organization to respond to their requests for help. Teach for All would be a network of independent organizations that would learn from one another and accelerate each other's progress. Now, I was so confident that there would be many supporters and allies who would be incredibly excited to take on this new challenge with me. It was understandable that I encountered a lot of resistance when I was 22, but I assumed that it would be different this time around. I was shocked when I got at least as much, maybe more, pushback. Many of the questions were valid. Was it wise to divert our focus when the problems here in the US are, in fact, still so massive? Was I too inexperienced with international affairs to lead this global endeavor? Many people questioned whether, as a mother of 4, it was advisable to do the world travel that would be required. I became racked with doubt. I'd like to be able to tell you that the reason I went forth was because of my own determination and faith in a brilliant vision of the future, but much of the credit goes to the few people who offered encouragement when I needed it most. I had never met Fazl Abed, the esteemed founder of the global anti-poverty organization BRAC, but as I was deliberating, he spent 3 hours over dinner talking with me. Fazl is a father himself, and I asked him, among many, many other things, whether he thought I could make this international endeavor work at this stage in my life. Of course, he said, you can do this and still have a strong family. And he was right. You know, just a few weeks ago, I took my oldest son, Benjamin, on a trip to support the launch of Teach for Japan and to visit Teach for China. My travel schedule clearly has its downsides, but leading Teach for All has also allowed me to expose my kids to the world, to its greatest problems, but also to the inspiring truth that we can make a difference against them. In the 5 years since its founding, Teach for All has expanded to 24 countries and counting. It has been amazing to see the brightest, most committed young people in countries around the world drawn to this issue, and to see them, inspired by their different cultures and contexts, pioneer new solutions. The thing about saying yes is that the risks are always pretty clear from the outset, but the rewards aren't always foreseeable. This was certainly the case with Teach for All. What we've learned in these early years is that educational inequity is not only pervasive around the world, but it's universal in its nature, which means that the solutions are shareable from country to country. It turns out that Teach for America has learned as much from our colleagues in places like India and Peru as they've learned from us. It's too early to claim victory, certainly, but from everything I've seen, not too many years from now, we will have a thriving global movement for educational opportunity. The last few years of building Teach for All have reminded me about the crucial role of the open-minded, of the people who may have lots of reason for doubt, but choose to encourage instead. The rare souls like Fazl Abed who choose to say yes have an outsized impact, and we need many more of them. To be clear, there's a distinction, an important distinction between yes men and people who say yes. Yes men and women will always agree with you because they seek their own advancement. People who say yes aren't afraid to question, to poke and prod an idea, but always with an eye towards improving it and making it stronger. I want to quote a very thoughtful young woman named Jamila Ma. Is Jamila here in the audience today? She summed it up perfectly in the D a couple of weeks ago. She said, "I arrived at Dartmouth a cynic, but I'm leaving a skeptic. There's a world of difference between those two people, and I'm proud of that progress." She continued, "That's another lesson from my government coursework. There is no way but forward. We have to believe in our own agency, because if we don't, then there is only defeat." Now, the reason that all this matters is that there are immense problems in the world. Poverty and disease, racism, injustice of all kinds, violent regimes that are willing to do anything to preserve their power. These problems have devastating consequences, and they are completely within our grasp to defeat. Consider for a minute the problem that I know best. In our country that aspires so admirably to be a place of equal opportunity, just 8% of the 16 million children who are living in poverty will get through college by the time they're 24. Unless things change, that means that 14.7 million of them won't get the education that can give them a better life. And yet, given the progress that's been made over the last 2 decades, we know for a fact that that's a solvable problem, because countless teachers and hundreds of whole schools have shown us that low-income kids can excel at the same level as their wealthier peers. In places like my home of New York City, we're seeing that dramatic change is possible even across entire communities. 4th graders in New York are a full year ahead of where they were 10 years ago, and the high school graduation rate in that massive system has risen 15 points in 5 years. Now, given all this progress, wouldn't you think that the builders would be winning that lawmakers and the general public would be clamoring to learn what is working and how to spread it. And yet, there are at least as many people looking for reasons to undermine and attack those who are on the front lines working to make things better for kids. We can live up to our nation's promise and give all children an excellent education. And we can solve so many other of the world's problems if and only if the force of people who aid the effort becomes a lot stronger than the force of people who are actively resisting or sitting on the sidelines. We have to check ourselves every day and ask, is the net force of what I'm doing building up or tearing down? Before we shoot down an idea, we should pause and ask ourselves, is there any way we can help to make it work? One thing I can promise you is that nothing is more energizing or fulfilling than being part of a larger effort to leave the world better than we found it. So as you head off the green today, I hope you will join me in resolving to contribute to solutions to our biggest problems, to resist cynicism, and be allies for progress. Looking out at you, I'm so optimistic because in the words of your alma mater, you are the sons and daughters of Dartmouth. You have the hill winds in your veins and the granite of New Hampshire in your muscles and your brains. You were made to be builders. With open hearts and open minds, you can slant the world toward yes. Thank you, and good luck.
The President will now present retiring faculty and staff.
It is my privilege to recognize those members of the faculty administration who are retiring this academic year after long and devoted service to Dartmouth. An alphabetical listing of them can be found in the commencement program. Please join me in thanking them for their many contributions. And now I'd like to take this opportunity to ask all of you to join me in welcoming back this day the 50th year reunion class, the class of 1962. Could you stand up for us, please? Welcome back.
This year, we are in a fortunate position of recognizing 4 graduating seniors with outstanding academic records. These students share the honor of having the highest academic ranking in the graduating class of 2012 and are being honored as valedictorians of the class. Please join me in recognizing our 4 valedictorians, each of whom has earned a GPA of 4.0. They are Willis Begor, Glynis Carney, David Rogg, and Jia Zhang. All of our speakers have chosen to give valedictory remarks today. Our first speaker will be Wills Begor.
Mr. President, members of the Board of Trustees, honored guests, faculty, family, friends, and fellow students, I stand before you today humbled by the profound contributions that many of you have made to my life. Mom and Dad, I want to thank you in particular for all the loving support that you provided over the years. But today I stand before you as a humbled and proud member of the graduating class of 2012. A few days ago, a friend of mine came up to me and told me that he was afraid of graduating. I think a lot of us are in that boat. He told me that he was afraid of change. So I thought I'd spend my few minutes up here talking about change. Change, turmoil, chaos, and maybe even a little bit of luck. I ask that you think back about all the incredible changes that have occurred during our short 4 years here at Dartmouth. Consider what's happened in the world, in our markets, in our community, and in our lives. When we entered Dartmouth, we were in the greatest financial crisis since the Great Depression. We were in 2 wars, in Iraq and Afghanistan. We had just elected our first African-American president, and Justin Bieber was quickly becoming a teenage sensation. While here in Hanover, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 landed on the Hudson River. U.S. unemployment reached almost 10%. President Obama signed a $787 billion stimulus package. Dr. Jim Yong Kim became the 17th president of Dartmouth College. Dr. Jim Yong Kim became the president of the World Bank. And word on the street is he's already looking for the next big job. But that's not all. There was a massive earthquake in Haiti, the BP oil spill. 33 Chilean miners were trapped after 68 days underground. The iPad was released. The Arab Spring spread from Tunisia to countries such as Egypt, Libya, and Syria. Kate Middleton married Prince William, who I must say, when he was younger, also went by Wills. There's still hope. U.S. troops shot and killed Osama bin Laden. Japan was hit by a massive tsunami that caused a nuclear meltdown. The debt crisis hit Europe. And Carly Rae Jepsen released the hit single, Call Me Maybe. But here we are today. We're a generation that has been defined by uncertainty and change, but we haven't let that uncertainty limit us. Class of 2012, among us, we have graduating seniors that have written and published scholarly articles, started businesses and nonprofits, done original research, and led organizations both on and off campus. We have graduating seniors that have taken leadership roles in their fraternities and sororities, been varsity athletes, accomplished artists and musicians, and incredible friends and family members. Today we leave Dartmouth as the best class ever, but ready to face an uncertain world ahead. I believe, however, that there will be 3 elements that will remain changed in this ever uncertain world. 1, turmoil and change itself. As I said before, we will be a generation that will be defined by change. Even today we are facing big changes in our lives. Moving to New York City, Boston, or even Columbus, Ohio, hi Lonnie, is a big change. But we shouldn't fear change. Change just means something new, a new adventure, new excitement, a new opportunity to learn. So the first constant in this ever-changing world is change itself. The second element is the reward that goes to those that constantly invest in themselves, constantly learn and constantly try new things. Even though you're graduating from Dartmouth, your education is really only beginning. Learn a foreign language, learn to write computer code. Go to a graduate school, read a book, or take on additional responsibility at work. Luck is simply what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So the first 2 constant elements in this ever-changing world are 1, the dividends paid to those that constantly invest in themselves, and 2, change in itself. The final constant in this ever-tumultuous world will be the relationships that you've cultivated with your friends and family around you. Cherish your Dartmouth friendships, for they will last a lifetime. You will always have a home here at Dartmouth to come home to. So class of 2012, I encourage you to be conscious of the moment. Take time to reflect and understand that where you are today is different from where you were 4 years ago, and is different from where you will be 4 years from now. It represents an opportunity to grow, mature, and try new things. So class of 2012, we are ready for the uncertainty in the world that awaits us. We are ready for the challenges, and we are ready for the excitement. Thanks and congratulations.
Our second speaker is Glynis Carney.
Welcome to Mr. President, the Board of Trustees, administrators, faculty, and family members. Your support has been monumental in our journey to this day. Above all, though, welcome to the soon-to-be graduates, the class of 2012. I can hardly believe that in a few short days, we will have moved into the next phases of our lives. Congratulations to you all. I'd like to first share a quote from one of Dartmouth's most famous alumni, Dr. Seuss. "If things start happening, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along and you'll start happening too." More so than most classes' experiences, our 4 years here have been marked, in Dr. Seuss's words, by things happening. We were greeted from DOC orientation trips by the collapse of Lehman Brothers in 2008. And now, as we graduate, we face lingering recession and high unemployment. Our Dartmouth experience has been bookended by 2 exceptional national acts of inclusion, with the election of Barack Obama as our country's first African-American president during our freshman year, and his recent support of same-sex marriage. Even in our own community, our experience has been shaped by changes, including alterations to the dining plan, articles about Dartmouth in the press, and the closing of the river docks. In many cases, these events have changed the course of the college experience we expected to have. It can be challenging to change plans and scary to feel uncertain about the future. However, in my experience at Dartmouth, the events that have changed my path have led to some of the most rewarding experiences during my college career. The first of these events was before I even arrived at Dartmouth, when I somehow got assigned to a rock climbing orientation trip despite my fear of heights. When the day to climb arrived, it was raining, making the rocks wet and slippery. I wish I could tell a story of struggle and ultimately epic success, but the truth is, throughout the climbing trip, I was never able to reach the top of the wall. However, the experience of having to change my expectations about what my trip was going to be like was the first of a long sequence of course corrections that eventually made me a much more balanced and flexible person. The realization that it is okay to break plans and change your mind eventually led me to choose to minor in studio art, something I never would have done had my initial idea of what my college experience would be like panned out exactly as I had planned. Dartmouth has a long history of achievement. This community has given rise to Robert Frost, Palabulus, and even the fictional character Stephen Colbert, along with countless others. Our class's experience uniquely prepares us to join these ranks because we have been forced to grapple with so many of these unexpected course corrections. I have a lot of faith in the talents and skills of the people I have met over my 4 years at Dartmouth. As we look excitedly forward, let's not forget where we are right now and how the divergences from what we expected when we first arrived freshman year led us to where we are today. We have been armed with the flexibility to consider many more options than we can fathom. I have no doubt that our class will, in Dr. Seuss's words, start happening if we haven't already. It has been an honor to be a part of an amazing group of students. And now, let's graduate.
Our third speaker is David Rugg.
Mr. President, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, alumni, family members, friends, and most importantly, fellow members of the class of 2012, I stand here humbled and truly honored to have been selected as one of our class's valedictorians this year. Fellow 12s, it has been a privilege getting to know many of you over the past 4 years. You're an incredibly impressive group, excelling in academics, arts, and athletics. You are some of the most extraordinary people I have met, and I'm more than confident that the world stands to benefit when Dartmouth's class of 2012 sallies forth from our college on the Hill to enter into the larger community. I find it somewhat amusing that I am called upon here to share 3 minutes of wisdom with all of you. Me, a 22-year-old barely college graduate who has yet to master the intricacies of doing his own laundry, expected to impart something meaningful to such a diverse and inspiring group of people. Despite this sheer lack of qualifications, it dawned on me that there was one key piece of advice that I received a number of years ago that takes on particular meaning for me both today and throughout my time at Dartmouth. When I was a senior in high school, nearing graduation, wrapped up in the stresses of classes, college visits, decisions, and planning, I remember one day in particular when one of my teachers at the school stood up during an assembly to share a very simple yet powerful message. She extolled all of the graduating students and faculty in the room to always bear in mind 2 simple words: be present. At first, I dismissed this advice as meaningless inspirational gibberish, the type of words you see on a poster hanging in a middle school guidance counselor's office. As minute after silent minute passed, though, these words made their way deeper and deeper until I was suddenly struck by the impact of her message. We live in an incredibly distracting world, surrounded by smartphones and laptops. Perfect. It is often easy to lose oneself on the other end of a 3-by-5-inch screen. Our lives are busy, filled with commitments, both academic and otherwise, and there is always too much going on. Regrets about something said or done, nervousness about an upcoming exam or match. There are many things swirling about in our minds, pulling us away from the present. Nowhere is this more true than at Dartmouth. Terms move so quickly and years fly by. I can't count the number of times over the past 4 years that I have found myself scurrying about campus, class to class or activity to activity, head down and oblivious to the incredible beauty that surrounds us and the wonderful community that we have established. Don't get me wrong. Thinking ahead and pondering what's been done can be important and often necessary as we plan where we are going and learn from our mistakes. But as my high school teacher succinctly reminded me that sunny day of senior spring, we sometimes need to forget about all that and simply be here now. Embrace the present because it only happens once, and we might miss it if we're not paying attention. We should enjoy life as we live it, as opposed to living through a series of recollections. In the end, we must content ourselves with the moment and let the present inspire us. We have been privileged to attend 4 years of college in one of the most beautiful places on earth. Take some time this afternoon or tomorrow, if you'll still be around, and clear your mind of all of your obligations. Forget about the hassles of moving, the pain of saying goodbye, the joys of a bright and open future. Take a moment and simply enjoy being you where you are right now. Go down to the river, take a stroll in Pine Park, sit on the steps of Dartmouth Hall. Let the rare Hanover sun wash down on you as you pause to appreciate what a wonderful place we must now leave behind, that we will return to time and time again in the winding years ahead. Congratulations, class of 2012, for a job well done. Don't take life too seriously, and take a little piece of Dartmouth along with you to wherever life takes you next. Thank you very much, and enjoy the day.
Our fourth speaker is Jia Zhang.
Mr. President, members of the Board of Trustees, faculties, honor guests, family and friends, to the class of 2012, I cannot start with my honor and gratitude, not only to be here before you, but also to share my joy and excitement. Your curiosity and courage, your versatile talents and commitment to intellectual thinking have gilded the world of Baker Barry with pride and are sure to shine in the way ahead of us. We have been waiting for this day for a long time. When we were freshmen, not many of us could have foreseen how the 4 year would be. We met different people here. People come into our life to teach a lesson, to help figure out who we are or who we want to become. We overcame a lot of adversities and moments of crestfallen and then became stronger. This is Young's, in the middle of nowhere, but in the center of everywhere. It's probably the privilege of young people to embrace the following without being criticized: a dream of wonderland, the sweet amazement at the stars and constellations and their tails, and the undaunting challenge of events, the unfailing childlike appetite for what comes next, and the joy in the game of life. Young's is the most beautiful stage in life. It's not a matter of beers, graffiti, red lips, or parties. It's a nature of exploration, an eagerness of imagination, a vigor of emotion. It's a freshness of the deep spring of life. Young's means a growing predominance of courage over timidity, an appetite for adventure over a life of ease, an unlimited desire to conquer the unknown world, yet remaining humble. No one grows old by merely living a number of years. People grow old by deserting their ideals. So years may wrinkle the skin, but giving up enthusiasm will wrinkle the soul. Confusion, doubt, hesitation, self-distrust, self-denial, these are the long, long years that bow our head down and turn the growing spirit back to dust. Failure, injury, lost moments of faith, and sheer stupidity are all occur to test the limits of our soul. In reflection today, without overcoming these obstacles, we will have never realized of our potential, strength, willpower, or hurt. Life will be like a smoothly paved road, flat, straight. It will be safe, comfortable, and easy, but dull and utterly pointless. We are young as long as we have faith, but old as long as we distrust. We are young as long as we believe in ourselves, but old as long as we fear like a coward. We are young as long as we are long-term determined, but old as long as we are short-sighted. And we are young as long as we dream and hope, but old as long as we lament and succumb to despair. Today we may leave Hanover, but we now possess a spirit of Dartmouth in each of us, a spirit that will keep us inviolable from the erosion of pessimism, a spirit that will carry the voice crying in the wilderness to the world, fight discrimination and injustice, and make small but significant change to our civilization. A spirit that so long as we possess it, we are young forever. And last, to my family and to you, thank you for being with me when I need you. I hope today is somewhat a small part of the testament to your love and devotion, and to a love which I can never completely repay. You all know the 3 words that I always want to tell you. Thank you, and congratulations.